Hey, what's going on, vinyl community? Hey, it's James. Back here on a Saturday afternoon in the West, and just listened to some Woody Shaw this morning. This is Lotus Flower, and it made me think. Let's talk about Woody Shaw, one of the greats. I know I repeat myself or I contradict myself about my favorite trumpet players, but it changes from time to time depending on what I'm listening to. And I love Woody Shaw, man. I mean, he gets talked about, but probably not enough. But you could say that about a lot of musicians. But this is a great record, Woody Shaw, Lotus Flower, on the Enja label, 1982, with Steve Turre, Mulgrew Miller, Stafford James, and Tony Reedus. But yeah, I had a great listening of this morning, and I broke out some other ones. I thought I'd talk a little bit about Woody Shaw. I mean, as some of his history, I know he was born in North Carolina. Early on, though, he moved to Newark, New Jersey. Definitely fertile ground for jazz history. And I think when he was young in high school, he was playing with guys like Lou Donaldson and Hank Mobley, maybe. I forgot what year. I think he was born. I think Woody Shaw was born in North Carolina in 1944, and he actually died not quite 45. Yeah, he had some substance issues. Great player, and just he was debilitated at the end. He was almost blind when he died. He was in a wheelchair. It wasn't a good situation, but we don't need to focus on that. He put out a lot of great music. So he early on Eric Dolphy was a mentor of his, or what is really his main mentor. But then when Eric Dolphy died, I don't know if I have his exact right, but then Nathan Davis said, hey Woody, come on over to Paris, and so that's really where he got his start. He was playing with a lot of cats in Paris. Did some work with Larry Young, and really started developing a name for himself once he got to Paris. Played with a lot of different European and American musicians at that time. So yeah, I'll show some. I don't have all his solo stuff. I have a good number of them. But Woody Shaw, he had, I don't know technically. I'm not a musician. I don't play trumpet, but apparently he was a real innovator in his technique. He developed from a technical standpoint. He innovated in terms of styles and fingering and different things that trumpet players would know about. But it comes through in his playing. It's very, just from the layman standpoint, kind of a rich, powerful, like bright tone, just like full on. I mean, all I can think about is it's like full on trumpet. Woody Shaw, he's amazing. Almost feels like with his trumpet, to me, I always felt this doesn't really make any sense, but it makes sense to me that when he's playing his solos, he's telling stories. That's all I can say. It doesn't. I know logically it doesn't make any sense, but that's how it feels to me. It feels like he's really telling stories with just his rhythm and the melodies, and just kind of the way he alternates the timing in the playing. Again, I don't have the right words for it, but I think you know what I mean if you love Woody Shaw like I do. So this is his first solo album. Most of you know this one, Blackstone Legacy. And think about, I mean, what a lineup for a first album. Gary Bartz, Benny Maupin, George Cables, Ron Carter, Clint Houston, and Lenny White. Great record. That was his first one. I don't know if these are all in order of the ones I have. Song of Songs, outstanding on Fantasy. It's from '72. Look at that lineup on the back. Yeah. The Awakening, this 8-minute track, Song of Songs, an 11-minute. I mean, there's only 4 songs on here, and they're all at least 7 or 8 minutes and up to 11 minutes. That just tells you outstanding music by Woody Shaw. Moon Train on Muse. 75, Azar Lawrence, Steve Turay, Onjai Allen, Buster Williams, Cecil McBee, Victor Lawrence, Tony Waters, and Guillermo Franco on percussion, recorded in 1974 in New York. And the Moon Train was probably one of his most popular songs. He did that on some other albums too. But yeah, that's it. Woody Shaw, Moon Train. Going right through here. Little Red's Fantasy on Muse. Not the greatest cover, but it doesn't matter. This was my introduction to Woody Shaw. Probably I heard the title track of Little Red's Fantasy on the jazz station, the Bay Area jazz station, one day, 20-something years ago. Was driving in the car throughout San Francisco, and on a beautiful sunny day. And if you know Little Red's Fantasy, that whole song, it's like a fable. It's like this epic tale. Just the tone of it. So that's one of my probably favorite overall jazz tracks is Little Red's Fantasy, and this is just an outstanding album overall. Jean Marie is on here. I know that's did I get that wrong? Did he do that with Jackie McLean? I can't remember. Frank Strozer, Ronnie Matthews, Stafford James, and Eddie Moore. This is on Muse from '78. Little Red's Fantasy. Great record. And you know, it used to be, again, where the prices, you could pick these up for fairly inexpensive. But I have no idea how much an album like this would be. Muse shouldn't be that much. But of course, prices are stupid now. Great live album, live at the Village Vanguard, Stepping Stones, Woody Shaw. This has Carter Jefferson on tenor, who's kind of underrated. Onjai Allen on piano, Clint Houston and Victor Lewis on drums. This is on Columbia, and this was live 1978 Village Vanguard. Outstanding live jazz record. That one. The last solo I'm having is this one, Woody Shaw with Tone Johnson Quartet on Timeless. This is from '85, and he died. He was going to die, or he did die. Sorry, about 4 years later. This is on the Timeless record label, out of the Netherlands, and he's with Tone Johnson Quartet. If you know Tone Johnson, he was a Slovenian, or is a Slovenian reed player. Really good stuff. I have a live record of his that's fantastic. So that's just sort of an offshoot of this conversation. Tone Johnson is a guy to check out as well if you like really good jazz. And this is from '85 again. Jazz in the '80s isn't my thing, but this thing cooks. It cooks, but there's sort of a cleanliness to it, but not in a clean way, if that makes any sense. And the piano player on here, Renato Chico, I think is how you pronounce it. He was part of Tone Johnson's band. The piano on here is outstanding piano work. Great record here. And then actually I already showed this one, the Lotus Flower too. That's a great record, Woody Shaw. So Woody, like you know, I guess it's obvious to say, like a lot of the greats, he was a sideman on a lot of records, and I pulled out some, or he's a sideman that I have. This is probably one of his most famous ones. This is in early sessions when he was on the Larry Young Unity album, and he wrote 3 tracks on here: Zoltan, The Moon Train, which is obviously from his Moon Train album, and Beyond All Limits. Young guy here, but Larry Young said, hey young man, go for it. So he's on that one. He's on this one, The Natural Essence of Tyrone, Washington, which I haven't listened to this for a long time, and pulling this out made me realize I gotta throw that on. It's been a long time since I listened to this one. But yeah, Woody Shaw, James Spaulding, Tyrone, Washington, Kenny Barron, Reggie Workman, and Joe Chambers. Yeah, that one. I haven't listened to this for a long time. Azar Lawrence, Bridge into the New Age. He's on this one. Yeah, Clint Houston's on bass. I always forgot about that. So, yeah, that one. Joe Chambers, the Alamoravod. Never could pronounce that. Solid session on Muse as well. Stanley Cowell, Brilliant Circles on the Arista Freedom label. So Woody Shaw, he really, you know, he wasn't on anything sort of like so out free jazz, but he definitely was an in-demand player for a lot of advanced music at that time. And I was just thinking earlier, it's interesting. He was on a number of Blue Note sessions as a sideman, but he never had a leader, or he never was a leader on a Blue Note session. I wonder if there was ever talk about that. If anyone knows, that would have been interesting. Eric Dolphy, Iron Man. I think this was Woody Shaw's first time recorded. I think this is his first actual session as a professional musician in the studio. Eric Dolphy, Iron Man. Here's a great one. Gary Bart's Home, live in Baltimore, 1969. I mean, what a lineup. Gary Bartz, Woody Shaw, Albert Daly, Bob Cunningham, and the remarkable Rashid Ali, live at the Left Bank, March 30th, 1969. So Woody smokes on this one. Bartz and Woody Shaw together. I mean, you don't get much better than that. He's on this one, Walter Bishop, Coral Keys on Black Jazz. This is a kind of an underrated album, Bobby Hutcherson Cirrus. Woody's on this one with Harold Land is on this too. I mean, you know, obviously Harold Land, Bobby Hutcherson. You throw in Woody Shaw. How do you beat that? So this is a monster record, the Larry Young in Paris thing that came out on Resonance a number of years ago. Larry Young, Nathan Davis, Woody Shaw, and Billy Brooks on some of this, and you have other lineups too. But this is a well-known record. You know, most of you know this. Whew, young Woody Shaw, he plays so strong on that one. We'll crank through this. Roy Brooks, Free Slave, Woody Shaw again. They're all Woody Shaw. This is an outstanding record that I think gets lost in the shuffle. Dexter Gordon, Homecoming, when Dexter Gordon came back from being in Europe for many, many years, and he was playing in New York. Woody Shaw, I mean, you talk about how an honor to you know, the legend comes home and he says, hey, do you want to play? So you have Woody Shaw, Ronnie Matthews, Stafford James, and Louis Hayes. The live version of Little Red's Fantasy is just, you know, you just turn it up and lay there and listen to it. Just outstanding album, the version Around Midnight. You talk about a band, incredible. Dexter Gordon and Woody Shaw, you know, the wise legend in the, well, you know, Woody Shaw he wasn't young, but he was younger at the time. Woody's on some of this Dexter Gordon, Booker Irvin, of one of the Blue Note reissue series from the 70s. He's on sides 3 and 4. I forgot I think the actual album of that came out at one point. Maybe it was just on CD. Outstanding work on this one. The sides that he's on includes, the lineup is Booker Irvin, Woody Shaw, Kenny Barron, Jan Arnett on bass, and Billy Higgins on drums. That was recorded in June 24th, 1968. So he plays on sides 3 and 4 of this one. He's on a few Jackie McLean's. He's on this one, Bout Soul, which is a challenging listen, probably Jackie's most out album as far as I'm concerned. He's on this one too, Demon's Dance. And this is just not just, but it's a quartet. Woody Shaw, Jackie McLean, Lamont Johnson, Scott Holt, and Jack DeJohnette on a rare Blue Note drumming session for Jack DeJohnette. He's on this one on my lame copy of McCoy Tyner's Expansions, but it's what I have. This might have been his first Blue Note session or first professional session. I have it all wrong. I know someone else out there is going to bust me. Cape Verdean Blues, Horace Silver. He played with Joe Henderson, of course, on that amazing record. And, of course, this amazing record, too. The live session at the Lighthouse in Hermosa Beach, California, Southern California. And then last, this one Was out on CD for a long time, but just came out a couple years ago. The Andrew Hill Passing Ships, Woody Shaw's on this one too. So yeah, that's it. Just wanted to give a little love and spotlight on Woody Shaw. He deserves to be listened to and appreciated more. Again, I don't know how much his records are these days. Hopefully they're not. Nothing should be expensive. One of these days maybe I'll do a video about prices and the forces that have come together to create the ridiculous situation we're in. How records have become kind of a consumer antique product versus something that's just for pleasure. But I'll leave that for another time. Enjoy some Woody Shaw. If you don't have enough, go online and buy one or two of them. You'll love it. All right, this is James. Take care. Later.